we have to remember that celebrities are humans just like us. They die just like we do, right? But I don't know, for whatever reason, you just don't think your favorite celebrities or athletes or whatever are gonna die, especially so young. And then to have his daughter with, man, it started
Mhm.
2020 off. So it just kind of
Hey,
encapsulated the
yeah,
shock and awe of 2020. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and
Bro,
you know what? It was the first time that I had seen people. I assume we kind of all close in age to some range, but
Hmm.
to see guys my age actually express like real emotion, like on social media, you don't really see stuff like that. And that was
Yeah.
Kobe was the first time I saw something like that. I was like, wow, like this whole tough persona is what you usually get, but to see guys at my age, guys that I knew, just kind of put it out there, I was like, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
yo,
Feel like it
I
hit
was
home, man.
I was
Yeah.
in New York. Yeah, I was in New York when that one happened, and so I was getting into this whole new routine of like taking my daughter to school. She's in high school, and we get in the car, drive her to school and stuff, and I'm blah, 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 talk with this and that. And when that happened, and I heard that his daughter was with him, bruh, I was just like, yo, I can't even begin like to imagine. And there's a what is that, Fulton? When you're driving down towards downtown in Brooklyn, there was a storefront that like the next day they started doing a mural on the grate on the when you close down the grate on the store. And I remember we were driving down and I looked at it, and like when they first started they were just doing like the base layer coloring, but I instantly understood what it was. And then the next day they had it done, and I looked, and she was like, "Yeah, I want to take a picture of it." And again, like you just said, like it hit close to home, and like you know, I got a daughter, I got a son too, but it was one of those like, man, like just you have your kid with you. I can't even begin.
Mm. Yeah.
I can't even begin.
Yeah. And on top of that, there was how many? I think 7 other individuals in
Other,
there,
yep,
including like some husband wives, which along with one
Right.
kid or
You
two, and
can't
so
forget that.
a
Yep.
lot of other people went down with that. But the mainstream media, unfortunately, only just promote Kobe and his
Yeah,
daughter
yeah.
Gigi, and so
right.
yeah.
MF Space Black. How did you react to that Kobe death? Where were you when that happened? Silent, I guess.
He got he's on mute. He hit that mute button.
Silent, I guess. Yeah, he was speechless when that happened. I understand. I understand. And then so I'm just gonna go through this list real quick. So we got Kenny Rogers. He was old though. Kenny was older. Kenny Rogers passed. Bill Withers.
Wow.
Bill
Okay.
Withers. Let's go through this some more. Some people I can recognize here. I don't know a lot of these individuals. Um,
Wait, what's his name? Keith Sutherland's mom's died?
where?
Keith Sutherland, the guy from 24? Is
Which
that his mom's with him? Go down
which
one?
which square?
Go,
Oh, right here.
Cheryl
Shirley
Douglas. Okay.
Shirley Douglas.
Yeah, I said the name wrong, but that's his. Oh, that's
That
his
may
mom.
be his
Okay.
mom.
All right.
Yeah, The Rock's father passed this
I remember
year.
that.
Yeah. It was some other notable ones that I knew. I don't know. I don't follow a lot of the celebrity stuff, but my man here, Andre Harrell,
Hmm.
real heavy hitter in the hip hop
Jerry Saw. I
scene.
remember
Jerry
that one about
Stiller.
Jerry Stiller.
Yep. There were some other ones in here, man.
Yeah.
The lady behind what you call it. Well, she didn't pass from COVID, but she did pass this year. The lady who wrote damn, I can't remember what was the name of the thing that she wrote, but she was definitely making her way up in the Hollywood circles as far as a writer and stuff. But I think she had passed from. Well, I think they said it was suicide.
Mm,
And then well, you see what's going on with what you call it, because MF Doom passed on Halloween.
yeah,
I didn't
and
find
we
that
didn't
out
even.
until yesterday.
No one did. That.
Oh, so he's been
MF.
passed?
Yeah, dude, he died in October.
Hold on. Who was that? Who?
MF
MF Doom.
He's a
Hip hop
rapper.
dude. He a hip hop dude.
Hip
Hip
Like,
hop,
British.
real like
Yo.
kind of under the radar, underground, real popular cat, real popular cat.
I didn't realize how much people he influenced until I was listening to somebody out of New York, and they and what you call it? God, I can't remember his handle right now, but he had showed a picture of MF Doom before he got into doing the mask with Tupac, and I was like, wait, he's that old?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, what?
MF been around for a while.
Like he's
Space Black.
J. Cole.
I wanted to see if you had anything to say about Kobe's death, and where were you when that happened?
I was in Memphis. I wasn't across the seas like everybody else. I'm not as rich as you guys.
Nah, I was in New York, bro.
I was in Kuwait. I was over here. I was everywhere. I was in Memphis on the phone talking to my best friend in Arizona. And I was like, "Hey man, Kobe's dead." He was like, "Nah," and then it just started. It hit every news media like bam, bam, bam. It's unreal. It's just it was pretty unreal.
It was unreal, man. It really was. So who else we got? Regis Philbin passed away as well. And then coming to something that's another shocker, Chadwick.
Oh yeah, that was tough too.
That was a shocker. That was a shocker.
Is Malik B on there? Malik B from the Roots? Didn't he die this year?
What?
You know, I don't think he's on this list, but we got Cliff Robertson, Blazers. Remember him?
Yeah.
That was a shocker. RBG.
Yeah, that right there was a political game changer. I kind of anticipated that she was suffering from some health issues the last couple of years because she'd been MIA. And I personally think she probably passed away a lot sooner than it came out in the light. So they were trying to probably hold off until after this election, but wasn't able to do it. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Big O, for the super chat, bro. And likewise, back to you, man. Prosperous new year. Just kind of going over some of the people we lost, man. And again, MF Doom was like the last one. He died in October. But it wasn't announced until like a day or two ago, which was real strange. I don't know how you keep how do you even keep that a secret? Like, I'm just confused about that one.
We were discussing this earlier, and me and my best friend got a theory that his wife was probably trying to get all his legal matters in order because he did so many songs. He had so many contracts with different labels. He was on Rhymesayers, I believe, Stone Throws. And then he had like Fondulum contracts. Then he had a bunch of uncleared samples. Whatever. I think she was probably getting all of his bids in order, and then she announced it to the world so she could go ahead and I'm not capitalize off everything she needed to, but
at least not get fleeced for stuff.
Yeah, we
think, bro. Again, until I seen the picture that you showed, I didn't realize how long he'd been around. And then I was listening to Red Pill, and then he was just breaking down like how many people he preceded. So like before J. Cole, before Tyler the Creator, before Odd Future, and like he's the progenesis for a slew of folks.
Absolutely.
And I was just like actually listening to his beat. And it's funny because I was actually listening to one of his Christmas mix joints last week. And when I seen that, I was like, wait, what? I was just listening to the dude. Like, what you mean? So it was, and he definitely did a lot of samples, bro.
A lot of samples.
A ton of samples.
So people may not know this. I used to actually produce back when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I had a production company. And it was two of my other cats that lived in my neighborhood. We started a production company. Did a little stuff for some of Shady Records behind the scenes, nothing major that hit the streams. But yeah, man, you know, that was a shock for sure. But you know, this one, when I saw this one, RTD, I thought of you. Will 45 said the dollar died. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah,
it bled out.
The
dollar out 30%.
The dollar is not. The dollar is definitely it's having its day of reckoning, man. And
it's not, but is it dead though? Huh? Is it dead? I don't think the dollar is dead.
No. The Federal Reserve note is dying. The dollar itself, depending on how you define a dollar, is not dead. I think the dollar, and that's for me going into historical this historical standpoint of a dollar in the form of metals is going to be just fine. Now the Federal Reserve
Well, let me ask you.
the
Let me ask
digital.
you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is gold on life support? Because that's what it looks like from my perspective.
How can something that's been around for how can something that's been utilized as a monetary source of energy and everything else for the last several thousand years be on life support?
Just real quick, my guy RTD, Mike from Rethinking the Dollar, he's a heavy precious metals guy, so we got Alan throwing shots at him right now, ladies and gents.
I don't mind
throwing shots at my man Mike.
You can't kill something that's physical, tangible, and it comes from the ground. Has been here before us and gonna be here after us.
Boom.
Correct.
What you gotta say about that, Alan?
No, it might not be your first choice.
I don't want to get started on that.
But it's still here.
Okay.
Hey, well, I said especially now that regulations starting to kick in, and this upcoming year we're going to find out our Uncle Sam's stance on decentralized assets. I think a lot of people will still be out there looking to get rid of those digital dollars to go get something physical in the form of silver and gold.
Let me tell. Okay, hold on, because you don't even live in reality. Okay, let me present to you some reality.
Go ahead.
See, I need my soundboard right now.
What reality do you live in where you're gonna carry rocks around and try to trade them with people for stuff? Like that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Second of all, it really doesn't matter so much what the government says; it's what they can enforce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Decentralized technologies, crypto is getting to a point where they're not going to have a lot of options from being able to enforce things.
Correct.
So, it's interesting to me that the gold people are Peter Schiff, and I see a lot of gold people. They're the ones calling for regulations.
Of course.
But hold on. But usually gold people are libertarian types. But now they got a lot of energy and desire for the government to come in and start talking about regulation. I just find that
bro, it's all about their bag. Now I'm not talking about Mike. This is not shot at Mike. I know you shoot my man Mike down. He behind the door trying to fire back at you.
See, they both can operate in the same paradigm, man. Like gold, silver. It has a history. The digital asset space is a decade years old. It's a decade old. So we're gonna find out how established it is, how durable it is, and how it can withstand a government, because our government's never had to try to regulate something that they can't stop or control or see or whatever.
Yeah,
and
but
we'll see.
But they tried to take gold from you before too, though. So like we want to talk about history. We know they taking gold, or they tried to.
But at that time, people were more trusting of the government, to where they enacted a piece of legislation saying that it's in your best interest and it'll help our country if you turn it in. But of course, a good portion of people did not turn it in. It's just those that had large stashes that had that were known. Those were confiscated, and people were forced to, because if you're sitting around with a vault that's publicly known where it's at and all that stuff like that, then it falls on you. But majority of the people who have metals, they don't know where it's at. You don't know where it's at. Most people.
What says you, Trek, on the gold?
So if you listen to Lynette Zhang, she talks about the precious metals things a lot. And I forgot what the name of her company is right now, but one of the things that she talks about is like there's a certain year that has exemptions from being confiscated. And I don't remember what the year is right now, but for the folks who are in the the gold bug community, if somebody who is out there who could answer in on that, because when you said, all right, so one person said that, oh, well, they confiscated at one point, but they didn't take everything, and they didn't take from everyone. They took from certain people, and they took certain years that were minted, is what I'm trying to get at.
Mm-hmm. So I think from a monetary historical standpoint, that 40-something year gap from 1933 to 1974 is 41 year gap was a time where the population forgot about what sound money was, what historical money had been up to that point, and accepted what was given to us in the form of paper and the new digital transformation of credit and all the other stuff being brought in. And so nowadays, majority of people don't even have gold or silver. So there's nothing to lose if you don't really have a majority of it. So at this current moment, everybody's trapped into this old paradigm, thinking their bank account is still worth something, as well as their financial assets that in the form of bonds and stocks and stuff like that. So it's not going to be much pain for the majority because most people don't have metals. So it's kind of like a dead point.
Throwing on that one, is it that, let's say, we forgot, or is it that we got trained out of understanding it and being able to utilize it?
Both.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
go ahead.
So
go ahead, Black Money.
Oh, that wasn't me, but I do believe that gold is inconvenient to use. I'm cool with holding it, but like he said earlier, I just can't drag a rock around and be like, "Hey, I want to buy a bag of rice."
Meet me in the alley.
It's funny how
Meet
you
me
call
in
it
the
rock.
alley. You know, and we can figure this deal out. Like, what is that? That's not real. What? This is what I tell all gold people. Show me how I can order some stocks from Amazon one day with gold. With Bitcoin, we can probably figure that out, or crypto, or any crypto, not just specific Bitcoin, but with crypto, we can do that. I can't order anything with just a gold in my hand right here. Like, that's not going to work in today's society. It did back then because they didn't have options. All they could do was exchange paper and rocks with each other.
So whenever you refer to gold, I'm assuming silver as well, you just refer to it as an old archaic rock. You know, it's just literally it's nothing. It has nothing in it. Nobody wants it. It just sits there. And
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Gold, silver, precious metals all have commodity value. I'm not saying it's worthless. I haven't said it's worthless. Okay. But to me, what I'm saying is really gold, silver, precious metals, no different than any other sort of commodity good. It could be oranges, it could be sugar. You can barter with it, you can trade. It has value because it has worth, some sort of utility to it, right? So that's what I'm saying. But in 2021, it's not practical to use gold as money, because when you're using gold as money, you then need currency, and so you can exchange it, right, in a fungible way. And without that fungible transaction, it's not practical. Now, the moment you go into having currency, you need to trust a counterparty when you're using gold. That's where crypto just destroys everything, because with crypto, you have money and currency bound together. You can exchange it without trusting this counterparty. That counterparty could be a government, it could be a central bank, it could be a commercial bank. You have to trust them. And we already know that you cannot trust them. So why will we go back to anything gold back when it requires us to go back to a system that we know will fail?
Right.
So, but Mike, are you and your colleagues who are into precious metals, do you actually look at it as a form of using it for payment, or do you look at it as a hedge against the falling dollar?
I literally, first thing that comes to my mind in that question is insurance. Like, I got an insurance policy. You can insure every aspect of your life, but you can't technically insure your fiat currency. But the best way to protect yourself against your government's debasement of the currency, you know, getting stimulated at midnight, all that stuff like that, has been known to just put it into something in the form of something tangible, real, that you can feel, that has all the monetary principles to them. Let it sit there and just don't even think about it. But yet you got yourself an insurance policy over there in case things go belly up. Then you can go to it. But I personally would never want to even exchange an ounce of anything in this current environment, because I don't know what it's really worth. But I will spend digits on my screen in the form of digital dollars, as well as a piece of paper. And then cryptos, I'm looking at now, is the same category. I'll put it over here. I'll let it sit, because they're guaranteed to increase in nominal terms because of what is happening in the fiat world. So cryptos here, gold, silver here. I'm not going to touch those, but I'll spend this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's purely insurance. You can't. I'll be damned if I give it to somebody for something good right now, because I don't. There's nothing. There's nothing I can't get with paper, with metals that I can't get with paper. So I'd rather give up the paper.
How do you verify the gold is real?
Say it again.
How do you verify the gold is real? Like, I've been having a problem where
that's what I'm saying,
gold, but I don't want to get jerked.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things where if you are literally a person that will consider a stacker or a heavy investor in the metals, amongst your accumulation phase, you have to work with trusted people that you trust. And then also, if you're that concerned, then literally, like, there's different types of gadgets you can buy to verify that it's, 99.99 pure or whatever. So there's different ways of determining that if it's real or not. But A, stick with the people you know, and B, back it up on the other end if you have lots of money or currency invested in gold. Like an ounce of gold right now is 2 G's. I personally, I'm more of a silver bug because me dropping a 20 piece for a round, you know, it's the counterfeit possibilities there, less likely, but then also people I'm getting it from I trust. So, you know, there's never been any lack of confidence on what I'm holding on my part.
Notice how many times you said trust in that conversation.
Trust,
That's my point, is that gold requires a lot of reliance on counterparties, whether like I said, I was talking about banks and actually via the exchange, but even into its validity requires counterparties. It requires too much trust of people. Whereas with crypto, you have code, and this is how it works.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. That's really more like deferred trust, bro. Because you still gotta trust the person who made the code.
No, you don't. Why do you have to trust the person that made the code?
Because
why?
Not everybody can actually read and verify the code and all that stuff. And there's no back doors and the technical side of things.
But you can easily, it's open source. You can easily go ahead and have someone. You can hire someone to audit it. It's there for you to see.
Trust.
So
yeah, you don't have to trust anybody.
Yeah.
Initially, when something is introduced, you got to trust it.
It's a scale of okay. I'm arguing that it is more about I don't know if scale is the right frame to use it in, like how we talk about centralized or decentralized blockchain in regards to the scale of how centralized or decentralized.
You're talking about spectrum of trust.
So yeah. So spectrum of trust in regards to, yes, I have less, quote, human involvement where I don't have to go to the guy who was at the pawn shop who's going to be like, oh, yeah, I can do the scrape test thing and be like, oh, this is this amount of purity of gold. And then if you don't know nothing about how to actually understand the instrument that he's using or the method, it's like, well, all right, I'm going to trust you that it does work out. As the same thing on where someone who knows the technical coding side of how to actually look at a blockchain through the programming side.
No, that's different. That's different because you don't need to, like, every time you transact, you don't need to go to one person to be like, is this code good, right? Like, the code is out there so everyone can see it. And you know when it changes.
And there's consensus around that code that everyone can see.
You don't need to trust a new counterparty for every transaction.
But my point is that there is a type of trust that is happening.
No.
It's not the same as far as like, hey, validate this for me, Mr. Pawn Shop guy or Mr. Gold broker person. But there is a type. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's the same exact equivalent, which is why I said I'm not trying to use the word like scale, but there is a type of trust that is happening. Or let's say it this way, there is a type of trust that has been evolving because of how blockchain technology works in relation to how we're using it with this thing called money and currency.
I get that.
Is that acceptable?
I can dig that.
Yeah, I guess it just bothers me the trust part because everyone can see it. You don't have to. Everyone can see the code. Yeah, everyone can't read it and understand. That's very true. But at the end of the day, that's more limited by your ability, not your ability to get the information. Right? The information is widely available to everybody. I don't have to trust another person. I can see the code. This is what it executes. Then it becomes a limit to yourself. Right? That's the gap for me. I get what you're saying. You're saying that you got to trust that the code works and it's going to work every time because you may not have the skills or know-how, which is fine. You can't expect everybody to read code. So there is a spectrum of trust, but I think it's way different to trust a person to execute and do all this stuff for you versus some code which millions of people have used and can exploit it. Like, that's the thing about crypto. It's a market system. So if there's an exploitation on, say, Bitcoin, which is the largest network, trust me that someone is going out there hunting for it every day. There's people out there probably for the last 10 years been trying to crack Satoshi's keys. You know, I mean, it's going to happen.
It's coming.
Yeah. So my man Richard Vincent says it best. He agrees gold is subject to seizure and hard to transport and verify. Very true. But like someone else said, you know, both are good to have, but you see what the market is doing. It's pricing Bitcoin because of its characteristics at $30,000 and gold at $2,000.
Yeah. But also realize that, you know, the infrastructure set up to suppress the true price discovery of precious metals since it was transformed from a sound money into a commodity is what 40, 50 years now. So we've been working on the ability to manipulate price structure by dumbing down something that has always been money and turn it into a mere commodity.
I agree with that.
No, you're right about that.
I agree with that. So Mike, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Mike. So without the you know, the manipulation portion, where do you think the price of gold will be right now? Just hypothetically speaking.
Okay, without the manipulation, it's hard to pinpoint because over the last, you know, gold was removed out of circulation before I was born. So I don't know how the financial market, the credit market, all the markets that have been created now since we went into a solely fiat debt-based currency system exist. I don't know what the markets would look like, but I think the cost of living would definitely be a lot lower. You know, the wages would have definitely continued to go up, you know, type of thing. So I think it would be our world would be a lot more productive in a sense, as opposed to debt and consumer-based at this current moment. But then you factor in the invention of crypto space. All the total market cap of cryptos now has gone into that sector, where in times past it probably would have gone to gold and silver. So if you know, because people I think the last 10 years would have jumped into the metals markets, no doubt, as a hedge against what's going on. But now,
for sure, yeah,
you got cryptos and digital assets now that are a lot more attractive because of.
And do you see that trend slowing down or reversing?
I think they're both going to go up.
I can't see it reversing.
Digital assets is going to go to the digital assets. It's as Alan just mentioned. It has all the new age characteristics. You don't have to trust as much. It's in a code. You don't have to verify nothing once you already have it and involved in it. And it's nothing tangible. So you can send it across the world in 3 seconds. I would use that if I'm sending a large stash or something. You know, I would try to, go to an app and then send it over to somebody. That's too slow. So gold and silver are going to sit there, but it will benefit just because our currency is going to get wrecked. Like right now, gold and silver is already at all-time highs in every other currency. It just hasn't happened to Federal Reserve note yet, but the time is coming this year more than likely. So both of them are going to win just because you're measuring it and judging it based upon something that's dying. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's true. That's a valid point. Very good point. I agree there.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about now, is about Bitcoin's future. We saw what happened with XRP. I put a tweet out earlier today or last night saying that, I think I was one of the first people to have no XRP on the back of my Twitter hash name. I knew this day was coming. Crypto Diamond strikes again. Thank you.
Yo, but the year ain't end though, bro. So
hey man, it's a done data for XRP.
Hold on, that's not the question though.
That's not the question. So anyway, the thing is about Bitcoin, right? Like, where do you guys see the future for Bitcoin? I see it going higher, 100,000 soon, maybe by the end of this year, going into next year. The governments are going to start attacking it. So kind of give me some scenarios of how you see Bitcoin being attacked. You're not even really a big Bitcoin fan, to be honest.
I'm actually think Bitcoin's a shitcoin. If you want me to
oh my god!
listen, just like people like hold on. Just like people like gold, I understand people like Bitcoin. Listen,
hold on, Alan. This guy Alan is such a contrarian. He contradicts himself. He just want to be on the opposite side of everything.
Oh no, that's not true. I said crypto. Notice I said crypto. I use Bitcoin as example because everyone's familiar with it. Okay. I'm a crypto, not Bitcoin person. Regardless, I understand that the current state of the market and maturity of this technology is everyone knows what Bitcoin is and they understand how it works and all that. Actually, if you don't mind, I want to ask one thing.
Sure.
I mean, you're definitely pro crypto broadly. I don't see you as like a maximalist at all.
No, I'm not.
Anybody on here. Don't you think, don't we want Ripple to win? Don't we want Ripple to crush it? Now hold on a second. You talk about the government, the SEC is going after Ripple as a company they did some trading and market making and all that. Regardless, if Ripple wins, that sets the bar. Hold on. I don't like XRP. I'm not a fan. Okay. I don't own any. Okay. What I'm saying is if Ripple wins, that sets the bar really high for the SEC to come after anybody. Like, we know Ripple and XRP is like very centralized, was probably the closest thing we would get to a security. If they can win, everything under them is very hard to prosecute, which is what we should want for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I hear your logic on that.
I'm just saying.
However, they ain't winning this one, bro. I saw this coming from.
Personally, I hope they win.
I saw this coming from a sniper's lens.
What if they lose? Then will that also destroy a good portion of those coins that are garbage? Because now
it ain't gonna destroy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and EOS.
Watch this.
I know you love my EOS, baby boy.
Listen.
Hey,
Listen.
We've already crossed that bridge, brother.
Every project, every group or every entity that created a project and tokenized it, formulated the blockchain, all that stuff like that, and it has a central point of control, meaning it's a board, executive, CEO, president, i.e. Dash right now is dipping today off rumors of the privacy cryptocurrency stuff. So any cryptocurrency project that can be pointed back to a creator or a source that's still in control of the overwhelming stake of the coins, they're going to probably be attacked if XRP fails.
Yeah, they're in trouble. I agree with you. But that's fine because it weeds out the whole premise and meaning behind crypto. So it's going to leave the ones that are strongest and most decentralized to live on. Yeah.
But
and that's being Bitcoin. That's being Ethereum.
A lot of people, and it's going to be a major correction. Probably something similar to what we saw in March, if not worse, initially.
For what?
For if XRP is taken down and they start pinpointing other projects that have central points of authority in their projects, just out of sheer confidence, people going to start selling and dipping, and it's going to be a shake up a little bit.
But they're going to sell. Here's my Crypto Demise prediction number 800,000.
Okay.
You're right. They're going to start selling all those other coins. But guess where they're going to go? A portion of it is going to go into fiat.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is going to go into Bitcoin. They're going to run into Bitcoin. They're going to run into Ethereum. They're going to run into EOS. Any other coins?
EOS, man.
They got the clearance, bro.
Okay, so here's my thing on how I look at this. I definitely agree with Alan on the end of if they get nailed to the wall in the overall. For how we look at it now, that this would be a loss for the space in a bigger movement, right?
No, we've already lost. You're OG. You're OG, Trek. We both OGs.
Listen to where I'm going, bro. Listen to where I'm going, OG.
The game is already over. I'm just trying to.
We haven't made it through the first quarter. So, like, let's say that there's a clear court case situation that happens within, this quarter, or at least second quarter, and then here's a clear verdict. The verdict goes that, hey, they good. They pay their fine, they move on. Now, everyone who delisted them, what they're going to do? They're going to have to relist them again. That's going to be a whole new price movement thing. Y'all, well, I don't do price talk. But my point in regards to the legal sniping, and I was saying this back when they first went at Reggie, Coincentra, a couple of other different ones. They're going to target them individually.
Yep.
And every time they, quote, either settle out of court or they lose, it's them moving the goalpost every time.
Sure.
And that's what this whole thing has been. Like, but I also think if how to say this, if they won, as far as if Ripple won, what would be or what could be the turnaround, or how would the SEC or the DOJ spin this to then either try a new application of approach to target companies, because it's not like it's gonna be like, oh well, we lost that one, all right, we just gonna give up and walk away, we done, like y'all do what y'all do. No,
they're not. Listen, they're not going to lose this one. Just seeing like when the ICO, when they start coming down on the ICO projects back in 17,
that was 18 through
18 through, right? I said I'm done. I see where this is going. They're going to hit every American born ICO project one by one.
All right,
that's why I got out of Reggie's. That's why I got out of Reggie's project well before I saw this, all this coming. When they hit Centra, I said, I see what they're doing. They're going to make a ass of everyone to show and prove they're the big bosses and they hold the key. So that's what's going to happen with all of these coins. They're going to hit each one. They're going to win. When I mean win, Ripple isn't going away.
Right.
Ripple, the company, isn't going away. They're going to pay a fine. They're going to pay a fine, and then the XRP token is going to be done. They're going to continue to delist them. Ripple, the company, will continue to move on and acquire and do what they need to do.
But operate with a different, token or coin or whatever. They're just gonna
no coin.
No coin. Well, that's Ripple's argument. Actually, I was listening to Garlinghouse, and he's like, we don't need to exist for XRP to exist. He's probably right at this point. So, if Ripple went away, XRP is still going to exist regardless. They're going to pay a fine. Blood is definitely right, but at the end of the day, really, that's really irrelevant. What happens to Ripple? What happens is if they say that XRP is a security, and I don't think it is right now. It's not. Just like Ethereum was maybe at first. Now, then they later ruled that it wasn't. And I think right now you're not going to be able to say that XRP is a security, and nobody in crypto should want that to be the case. Fine, Ripple, but you shouldn't want XRP to be ruled as security.
Depending on how the XRP Ripple situation goes, is that they do not utilize their XRP token or coin, whatever it's branded as. What would they use to use as the cross-chain remittance of payments as tools? What would they use to payments?
Bro, they weren't using nothing anyway in the first place. Nobody was using that stupid ass coin.
Man. Listen, that's not
nobody using that coin, bro. As a pipe dream. They literally sucked the value from all the coin holders and bought real assets, companies, and other stuff. Did marketing Bitcoin off the backs of the token holders.
But look in the SEC filing itself, it specifically said this is where they're getting their revenue from. They're getting their revenue from selling XRP and from people buying XRP from them to use on their Ripple product. So you can't say nobody was doing it. Like either the SEC is lying in something they put out into the public, but you can go in there and see it. Listen, I'm not trying to defend Ripple. What I'm saying is we don't want XRP to be a security unless you just want the government to be that lever that comes in and really adds a lot of reduction and regulation on the space unnecessarily.
That's already what my argument is. We're past that. That game is already that ship and sailed. We're past that. So the government is in here. Go ahead, Trek.
Let me throw this one out for you. So the fear is if this happens today as Ripple being a security, how is that going to work going forward? But I would argue most people who are looking at this situation is like, oh man, that means like I said, like we're in the beginning of the year. It doesn't really mean nothing. And one of the things that I used to talk about in the presentation last year about like mass adoption, it's in increments. And when the government and private sector move one way on something, it's at the ground level what the people end up doing. So case in point in Prohibition. Prohibition lasted for over 10 years, bro. And then they turned around and did what? But in the meantime of all of the federal thing, the untouchables and all of that, guess what happened? There was the innovation in streetcars. There was muscle car racing. There was new ways of coming up with distilleries. There was people coming up with all type of innovative this, that, and the third way. So arguably, it could be a case made that if Ripple does get nailed to the wall as being a security, it's just going to make the more creative folks on this side of the space be like, well, see, we're not going to go that route, and we're going to make a whole bunch of other stuff. And
that's
then what
exactly
the government's going to have to do.
That's exactly what's going to happen and what should happen. So another coin or other coins that are safe, in my opinion, are the ones that were airdropped, i.e. your Unitrade, Uniswap or whatever coins. That coin is good because it was airdropped. So any coin that was airdropped is going to be straight, man. They're going to be cool.
I don't know on that one because, you know, what you call them, the IRS may have a whole nother thought process on that.
Well, that's a different question, though. IRS, that's an individual.
That's a tax liability question.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody's going to try to dig your pockets.
Yeah. I would ask, what's the difference between Ethereum then and, say, what I would call, like, similar constructs where you have, like, Polkadot, Cardano, anything where recently, you know, it was like an ICO, then it went through this, and then they were building and they got the code out, and now they're live on mainnet, and they got, you know, so I think you talking about like who would be next after, let's say Ripple loses, right?
Stellar,
you think Stellar? All right, so pretty much we would just like knock out everybody in the top 20 that's actually useless plus Litecoin. Like that's what that would look like. Like, yeah,
Litecoin would be good too. They would get grandfathered in.
Now,
Litecoin
might have some issues coming up this year because of the whole Mimble-Wimble. By them looking to add in a privacy feature, perhaps they might be shooting themselves in the foot as well.
So the thing about the Mimble-Wimble, it's a feature that can be implemented or not on the network. So a company like Coinbase can route all their transactions. It's optional. So I think they're safe. I do still think that they're safe. Grandfathered in, man. Ethereum, I think, just the moon aligned, the stars aligned.
Now
the next Zcash is optionally private also, and they just got delisted today, right?
Say that again.
I said Zcash has an optional side privacy feature also, but
yeah, Alan, if you want to, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the delisting of some of those privacy coins.
Yeah. So I think it was Zcash, Monero, and Dash, right? They got delisted off Bittrex. This is part of why I think that really Bitcoin will probably never add anything that makes it actually more private, even though they talk about it, but I don't think they want that just because it actually adds sort of regulatory risk to it. Same thing for Litecoin and Mimble-Wimble, even if it's optional. At the end of the day, though, I think it's wrong. I don't support it, just so we're clear. Like, I think this is all bullshit, you know? So, but I've never thought that privacy was going to be done in the way that Monero and Zcash, I mean, these are all legit, in Dash, you know, all these are legit projects in coins, but I've already thought that privacy was going to be handled more through other sort of mechanisms like smart contracts and L2 networks. You look at like what Secret Network is doing, or just even when you go on L2, they could do a lot of things to obfuscate or just hide transactions that you wouldn't necessarily see on like a mainnet based chain. So I never saw privacy coins really surviving because you can add a privacy feature to something like an Ethereum, right? In a lot of different ways, but you can't add Ethereum to like a privacy coin. Like it doesn't work that other way. It's far more difficult and complex. So I never was like cared that much about privacy coins because I didn't see them as a practical like use case, you know, but I think it's really messed up. Why are they, somebody asked, why are they delisting my privacy coins? It's probably because those are the ones that are actually more private. You know?
Anything that's a threat, guys, you got to remember, anything that's a threat, the government is going to attack wholeheartedly. So you couldn't possibly think that your privacy coins, and this is again another thing I mentioned years ago. I said I like the concept of privacy coins, but I think there's a lot of risk going forward with privacy coins. Like you got a lot of tail risks that you're gonna have to go through, and that is, you know, them locking down on a lot of those privacy coins. They're gonna ring fence all those privacy coins to the point where you won't have really a market other than a decentralized exchange, and then they're going to try to block you from even moving those off ramp. You know,
but I think that's the play, though, right? I think centralized exchanges are actually going to be the ones hurt most by delisting of privacy coins, because the more they got to listen to someone, the more users will want to go to somewhere where that's not even an option, which is like a decentralized exchange, right? And that's going to be the actual fallout, I think, is users will rely a lot less on centralized exchanges for this stuff because they don't need to.
Yep.
Good point. Good point. Or Cash App or whatever. Man, government gonna treat these privacy coins like crack rock. They pull you over and they see you got some Monero in your pocket. You out of here, homie.
I think
you going to jail? Nah.
I said this the other day with, I forgot who I said it to, but I think that this decade, I think it's going to really step up the cat and mouse game of privacy versus not having privacy, or being able to at least enable and practice it when you want, right? Because at the end of the day, like, you have the people be like, well, I don't got nothing to hide. And it's like, but that's not the point. The point is about having the option to do it when you want to. And there are definitely things that you may not see as it is detrimental if someone knows, but does that mean you want everyone to know? Right. And as far as the government side argument, I think that there will be a push to, like, all right, let's as we were talking about blood, for like circling around the privacy coins or the people who are using those things, but at the same time they still gonna do their version of a privacy blue dog, aka CBDC, digital dollar, whatever you want to call it, but they're gonna use their version and just say, well, no, you as the public, the average Joe Jane, you can't use your version that you actually control. Like, that's what the real issue is going on here. That's at least how I look at it.
Yeah.
I hope companies, you know. Sorry, go ahead, Alan.
Go ahead, Black Money. Let's let Black Money get in there real quick.
Okay.
As far as the privacy coins, I actually do like the idea of a privacy coin, but all this stuff really doesn't make any sense because the network is only going to be as strong as your off ramp and on ramp. So we can have all the privacy things we want to, but as soon as we go back to an exchange and try to convert it to fiat, we're done. I actually took a course.
Assuming your stuff is priced in fiat.
Boom. There we go. You got the right mindset right there. There we go.
I hear what you're saying, but no government is actually going to ever lose control over people by allowing something.
Really?
Yeah. Really? I don't believe so.
Okay. I got a couple countries for you to look into if you don't believe that.
Oh, I'm saying the most ruthless, evil country on earth. I'm saying the United States of America.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not talking about another. I'm talking about a place that will create a genocide and set up shop on top of your house and say, this is us.
Yeah. All right. You're right about that. I get it.
But yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about, especially the addition of Mimblewimble to Litecoin. I want to see how it works, but now that they delisted Zcash and Dash and the other one, I think it's probably a bad move at this point. But it's supposed to roll out first quarter of 2021.
Now, watch this. Will that create a market response in favor of Litecoin, or will this whole privacy narrative like downplay that to where low key dips? What do you think?
based on what Charlie said, he was saying that it's an optional side chain, so the exchanges have the option of listing how they want to. They can either list it with privacy features or not, similar way that Coinbase listed Zcash. I do think as long as it all doesn't go to privacy, then the volume should be able to stay up and the price will probably go up. But if it was like a mandatory everything is private, then I believe that will make the volume go down and it'll take a big hit on that one.
Now watch this CryptoBlood real quick. On my side, I'm attempting to live stream on my side as well. So my mic maybe not be working for my group, I'm not sure. But somebody in the chat room over here says ask CryptoBlood to explain the positives of EOS.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Hold on, I'm gonna show you the positives.
Hey, whoever said that, man, that's the best question we had.
I'm gonna show you the positives of EOS real quick.
Show us that email account request.
No, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what the activity on the blockchain is looking like. Let's do that. Let's do that. No, but honestly, people complain about EOS being centralized and this and that. They're not understanding the meaning and the use case for EOS is not to be a coin or currency. It's for actual applications, decentralized apps. And currently it has the highest throughput by a large margin. So I see EOS being one of the networks, especially after this SEC situation. They're going to be one of the networks that is used to do a lot of your Web 3.0, Web 4.0 stuff. I see Alan over shaking his head.
EOS is trash. Okay, it's just not going. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let me tell you. Look. I think Web 3 is going to spread. Look, EOS will do Web 3. Cosmos is going to do. I've actually lately been playing with a bunch of the wallets. I've been playing with Cardano's Web 3 wallet, Polkadot's Web 3 wallet, Kepler, which is basically Cosmos's, and they're the chains that they have on there, like Secret Network. Kepler works on that. It's all this stuff is going to work really tight. And I haven't played with EOS's. I don't know if they got a Web 3 wallet. I even played with Tron Link.
So so let me just say this. When I say EOS, guys, I'm really talking about EOS.io protocol, the base protocol, because Wax is doing an amazing job on the NFT side of things. They're like killing it, bro. And I really venture and have people look into Wax and that whole ecosystem when it comes to NFTs, man. They are killing it from onboarding, web, yep. Hey man,
Alan,
gotta look into it, man.
I literally just had this conversation before this, and that's one of the things I was talking about for something I'm working on for this year, with the whole NFT space. EOS, Wax, EOS Wax, yes, it's definitely in the space, but it's still majority of stuff over on the Ethereum side, bro. Like Wax is definitely doing their thing, but when you look at the different other avenues, looking at like what Mintable is doing, what Rarible is directly Ethereum. Mintable is like open up as far as a market place, but they're still having the Ethereum part of it, and then like just the things straight shooting off of Ethereum itself. Even with what you call them, the twins. What's the twins' name? The Gemini twins.
Winklevoss.
The Winklevoss,
so
whatever they're called.
Right, they're doing Nifty, which is basically NFT, but that's going to be the next marketplace thing they come up with. And I think that one's based on the Ethereum thing too. Like they didn't make their own whole new blockchain thing for it. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Like for where things are right now, Ethereum is really being the heavyweight. It might change halfway through the decade, or it might change totally at the end of the decade.
See, but the thing where people I think mess up and they're in them, picking which platforms, you can't look at what today is showing you what the value and what's going on presently. You have to try to forecast going forward. And the trend to me, that's what I'm doing. The trend to me is not with Ethereum. It just isn't, bro.
How can you say that?
It just isn't.
Look, look at all the worlds, which are basically basic map NFT sort of places you can go. It's Decentraland, Somnium, Crypto Voxels. They got so many worlds. All these worlds are on Ethereum. Okay, then people bring NFTs into those worlds. Super Rare, Maker's Place, like all the volume is on Ethereum. All the like, what's going to cause people to move, especially when
Alan was that guy that said Netscape is the bomb, and it ain't nothing touching Netscape.
Let me tell you,
nothing touching Netscape.
I'm not an Ethereum maximalist at all. I actually think Cardano and Polkadot are going to come take Ethereum's lunch. If you want me to be honest.
You said that. Yeah,
I've said that many times, and I just see what they're building.
What would the world look like if all those different protocols succeed? Like Ethereum 2.0 launches, they go to the next phase. Cardano comes on, Polkadot comes on, Cosmos is doing it. I mean, so you got all these different blockchains, and of course, you know, there's all types of projects that's going to try to dip and dabble on all of those blockchains. But what would an interconnected world look like?
I think they're going to find a niche, not a niche, but like this will be better for this will be better for that. And really, it'll come down to whoever builds bridges to the real world easier, right? The more bridges you have, like right now, who is everybody trying to bridge to? Let's just be real, Ethereum. Right? Everyone talks about bridging to Ethereum. Why? Because that's where everyone is. Well, in the real world, more people are in the real world. So however and you can't tackle everything. That's actually one of the things I like about Charles Hoskinson with Cardano. He's like, everyone can't do everything, not all at once.
Wait, so Cardano? You like Cardano?
Oh yeah, I think Cardano's very legit. I think in 4 to 5 years we'll have Cardano.
Wait a minute, bro.
We'll have Cosmos.
You have a problem with EOS, but you like Cardano. That ain't even. Did they launch their live?
Yes, they are.
Did they launch finally? Finally,
they're launched.
Oh, okay, about time. How many users do they have? What's their throughput?
They're behind. They're 3 years behind.
Oh,
3 years behind and going live.
Okay.
Hey, I put it like this. Hey, I'll bet you right now.
Don't go up against
Cardano
now.
Outperforms.
My kill rate is 100%.
Hey, let's bet it.
Headshots.
Let's go.
All right.
Now, watch
you
this.
Come up with the terms. Cardano will outperform EOS. I guarantee you. I'm gonna tell you right now, they've built too much.
But the thing is, Alan, I'm not saying that Cardano won't be something in the future. I would err on the side of it won't be, but let's just say they are going to be something in the future. I'm not saying that you're going to have multiple blockchains for various applications, right?
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we'll make that bet.
Is not one of those. That's all. That's all.
All right. RTD.
And trying to put all that together, whichever one succeeds, whatever one fails. Alan, you mentioned the real world, and it's unfortunate that the real world will come from financial institutions, like the adoption side of things. So the banks, insurance companies, however the tokenizing of real tangible assets will be what's utilized on all those different blockchains. So it can't succeed. None of them succeed without the real world, which is the banks and the financial institutions and the pension funds and hedge funds and what I'm saying, and possibly governments at some point. So
I want to get back to that whole point about Bitcoin. Like, this is what I really wanted to talk about before we got on that tangent about our XRP and everything. But like Bitcoin and the institutions, are you? And I want to ask this to Trek first. Are you concerned about Bitcoin's future because of how the institutions are stepping in? And is there going to be room for the small guy by the time they realize what's going on? Is there a piece of the pie for them to have by that time?
So I've said before, like, I am definitely leery of Michael Slayers and the BlackRock and all those folks that are making not BlackRock, but like JP Morgan and those folks making their moves. Why? Because their use case is not the same use case as the regular retail everyday person. Like, you got folks who are saying, I'm getting into Bitcoin because I want it to be my retirement plan. You got other folks who are like, well, I'm getting into Bitcoin because, and remember, when you make your retirement, you talking about what you're going to spend X amount of years down the road. right? You got the other folks who's like, oh, well, I'm using it as the insulation and a hedge against the USD or whatever other fiat you're in, depending on what country you in, right? And then you got the folks who are like, well, oh, I'm using it because I need to be able to move some things around in that digital sense. Those are all different use cases.
Yeah.
But when you got people who coming in with like God level money, they ain't moving the same way or for the same reason. He literally, like, I've been listening to X amount of his interviews, and I'm not saying he don't make some really good technical, economic, points.
Must be talking about Michael Saylor.
Yes.
Yep,
yes.
I already knew
He's
it.
been doing the tour. He's been touring on
Like
everybody's podcast, bro.
Like he didn't buy Bitcoin at $10,000, $14,000. But yeah, continue.
My point with that is, I think that, and this is something that I understand now compared to when I first got in and how I was moving back in, the earlier days. To appreciate the full value of Bitcoin, it's like, well, what's your scenario? What's your situation? What country are you operating in? What are you trying to do? He's talking about how do you transfer wealth 30 years, 40 years down the road. If you don't have a concept of a long time horizon, what the hell does wealth transference mean to you? If you don't understand or have access to a bank account, what does that mean to you? And then even if you're in a first tier country, case in point the US, case in point France, case in point Japan, South Korea, whatever, if you're not operating at an institutional and like investor level, or you have those kind of like goals or agendas, what does that even mean? As far as like for the retail person, the individual, the regular average Joe Jane, you still got stats. You might not be able to quote get half of a Bitcoin because, oh, well, it's too expensive because let's say, in the 2025, it shoots up to be 500K. Now you're like, oh my God, I can never do it. Guess what? You still got stats. And this is the part that also kills me right now with how like folks in his realm talk. They're talking whole numbers. They're hitting you with like, oh, million, blah, 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 this. But you guys talk about it for the retail person. When you use Cash App, a matter of fact, to buy it, it tells you what it is in stats.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's Satoshi's if you're not, aware. If you use Cash App, it tells you how much Bitcoin you have in stats.
Because they know where it's going. They know where it's going.
You see what I'm saying? So like we out here like throwing out these like wholesale wholesale numbers, right? And it's putting a perception, or it's molding the narrative and understanding that people who are not multimillionaires or people who are not looking about generational wealth and transference 5 generations down, not everybody's on that. Like some people are just on the now.
I guess my question to you, blackmoney.com, is do you see there still being some possibility for the average Joe to take advantage of Bitcoin's run up? Is that a possibility? And if so, what is the window of possibility? Is it closing? Where do you see it to the point where there really isn't much to gather from a wealth perspective holding Bitcoin? How long do you see that being an opportunity for the average Joe?
I think I'm super short with talking, but I think where we are right now is the same place that everybody was when De Beers was getting established. So Michael Saylor is the future De Beers. Rich people are going to come into the market. They're going to buy everything they can. They're going to slow up the volume where they create a hyper scarcity. So if you take a diamond and you get it from the source, you can get a carat for like $10. But because De Beers comes and rapes, kills, and steals every bit of it and holds it in their own fortress and release it to the world, the price becomes in the thousands. So the institutions coming to buy up all the Bitcoin and crypto and hold it is just gonna shoot the price up and turn it into something that it was never meant to. It's gonna turn into control over the people. So I guess the only way you can fight it right now is to get in early mine if you can, or come up with your own.
What do you say, RTD?
I think holding any form, any weight of actual satoshis or whatever would be worth your while, because once again, most people, like similar to gold and silver, they don't have much or any. So holding some will have you better off than having none. And so get in where you fit in ultimately. Like if you can. So I tell people in the metals world, it only take a certain amount of ounces to actually protect and preserve and possibly transfer you into whatever is going to be done in the future, as opposed to stand solely in cash. So no matter how much you can afford to put out there, having exposure to it is better than none. So I think, unfortunately, the majority will not benefit extremely well as Michael Saylors and Michael Novogratz and all those individuals. But you can also protect and have a little something as we go through this. And what you do with it, we'll see. But ultimately, the goal is to use it for something. And whatever it is you're going to use it, it's probably going to be land or something tangible as well. So maybe to eat and so it's going to be used to buy something tangible again, similar to the way gold and silver will be used.
You make an excellent point, and I said this in 2017. Have an exit strategy. Every asset has a bubble, every one of them. And Bitcoin is just going to have multiple bubbles, but it's still you're going to get overpriced in Bitcoin at some point in the future. So have an exit strategy, like Mike said, buy tangible assets, buy land, buy a little bit of gold, but buy stuff that can create you more money, more currency. Buy a business with your Bitcoin earnings. Start a business, do something like that to continually, because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is not a productive asset. It's just like gold. If you have it sit there, it won't necessarily make money for you. It will appreciate possibly against those fiat currencies, but you want to do something where you can create wealth for yourself with those Bitcoin gains, so.
Let me throw this one out here for you. So for everybody who's like, oh, look, the financial institutions are getting this, some of the family trust, this, that, and the third. Now, mind you, we don't know everyone who's really moved in the space yet. Some people are still, playing it low key. But for the folks who are jumping in publicly, and at this point, X amount of us has been in the space long enough, right? And we know at some point the pullback is going to come in.
Yeah.
I'm not giving a number for the pullback, but I'm very curious.
Do you want to hear mine?
Hold on.
Okay. All right. Crypto Demise is ready to let y'all boys know. I'm ready.
Zay brought this up the other day, where the real interesting thing, at least for how I look at it, is that there's going to be the pullback. How many of the rich folks, X amount of the wealthy folks, when they start seeing that retracement come back down in, and it's like, whoa, hold on. Like the folks who had to wait 3 years for it to get past 20K again, how many of the, let's not say smart money, because the smart money people know how to wait it out, but like the people who, quote, have the money, but don't understand how this space really works, when those family trusts, those other institutions start dumping because they didn't get the real, like, how this thing works in regards to the cycles and how much, we know that over time the fluctuations are gonna decrease, but we still get some pretty wild fluctuations. That's why I want to see who's gonna publicly be the one to acknowledge they dumped, or they at least sold off some because they were too worried, or they saw the price move too fast down.
Go ahead, Alan.
I think the way I look at it is, where are they going to go? So, let's even say it was just Bitcoin was their only option. Where, these people that are buying it now, these wealthy people, these connected people, the reason they're buying is because they themselves are losing faith and trust in the money and the value, whatever portion they've allocated. They say, let's just say it's 5%. 5%, I want to put it in here because that's the amount that I've lost faith in the dollar, right? Or fiat money or whatever, more than likely. So it's some sort of a hedge, or maybe it's more for some. where are they going to go? What is going to be their option? It's not like there's going to be some sort of like new money, like, oh yeah, we trust this money. Like, because the dollar is the one that's declining, it's basically a scenario where you're sort of like trapped. Now, that's not to say that everybody's just going to go to Bitcoin, but I think mentally, this isn't like 3 years ago where everyone was like, I made a post about it last week. This isn't like people are going to get rich or make money off of this, but they already knew how to get rich and make money, right? All the people who are rich and wealthy, they already know how to do that. So the value proposition of Bitcoin in that scenario was not something that they were really interested into. Now it's about wealth preservation. That's a completely different mentality.
That's right.
And it's kind of like, how do I preserve my wealth? And I think so you tell me what other asset they're going to put their money or value into that's not crypto in the next 10 years.
Pet rocks.
Hold on. That's not even an attack. No, I include gold in that as that's an existing option. I'm saying we already know these asset classes, right? Precious metals, property. Crypto is the new asset class entrant into that can be a wealth preserver along with gold and precious metals, right? That wasn't a shot at precious metals in that scenario. I'm saying, where are they going to go that's going to make this go down? So I think the sentiment of the market right now is, we know the Federal Reserve and all the central banks are going to continue printing money at a rapid pace. And I don't know if you guys listen to Brent Johnson, but he's I think he's a hedge fund guy. He's a very sharp guy. His theory is that we're going to have a melt up, a spike in the dollar. It's not that the dollar is going to lose its value, but because everybody's money is trash, everybody goes into the dollar, and it's going to be like a spike up. You look at the history of like Weimar Republic, usually, or they talk about Zimbabwe and all these are like targeted like regional areas where this happened. But the dollar, because it's the world reserve, and that's the first time we've really had something like that, is going to happen on a global scale. So you tell me where they're going to go other than crypto, where, just to wrap up the thought, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these networks are literally building an alternative financial system that relies less on people, that is permissionless, right? So all this stuff is going on in the regular world, but confidence in the government is declining, confidence in the money is declining. Meanwhile, crypto is building this alternative financial world. I mean, can you imagine them, like, where are they going to go? So that's what I'm saying. I'm sort of answering the question with another question. I just don't see where they're going to go.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. We got 10 Pound in the building.
What's up? Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
In the weight room. He talking about real weight. Okay.
Yeah. Moving that real weight. The real Noriega.
All right. So, straight up, boys. I was listening to what Trek was saying, and I was like, man, that's some serious stuff. Like, that's some incredibly serious stuff. On Michael Saylor, BlackRock, Deloitte, all these mega deep, companies, all these huge military industrial complex contract companies, what they're doing in this space, man, it's crazy. I can't believe how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Trek was just spilling it out, man. Like they out here making DeFi protocols, whatnot, to bridge Ethereum to Ramp, to bridge Ethereum to Tomo, to bridge Ethereum to like Elrond, you know what I mean? To bridge Ethereum to IOST, to bridge Ethereum in all these different ways in the synthetic assets. And I'm just like, man, dude, these billionaires know what they're doing.
So do you think they're going to squeeze out the little guy? Is there still opportunity for the little guy to get in? Because I don't know who's watching right now. I may have a mixed audience right now. Newer people interested in cryptos, Bitcoin in particular. Not financial advice, but what do you see as an assessment of the opportunity going forward next 2 to 5 years in Bitcoin? Is there still room for growth to happen there?
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. I don't think that you're going to be missing out if you don't grab like a tiny bag, at least like put like, I'd say for instance,
No,
$200.
don't
You know what I
don't
mean?
tell them,
Like a
don't give
tiny
them
bag,
no
like
financial
a
advice
tiny,
now.
yeah, no
Let's get
financial
Alan.
advice.
Get Alan in here real
Hey
quick.
man, like
So I didn't
earn
answer
it.
your question, huh?
I say earn it if you have to. Excuse me, but yeah, you're right. No financial advice, but earn it if you have to. Like, I'll be real with you. Like, I'm involved in this DAO right now called Metagame, where they pretty much just gamify interacting with the community, and then they'll pay you out Ethereum smart contracts that are worth like $60 each. You know, so you could just earn it that way if you don't want to buy it. You don't have to buy it. Like, you could just pretty much join the community and just like leverage your skills, leverage your talent, leverage your network. You know, you could do it that way if you want to.
What are you gonna say, Alan?
So I was going to say, I think because money and value, the biggest play is network effect. I don't think it behooves anyone in crypto to tell anyone out of crypto that it's too late. It's definitely not too late. Okay. We have to tell them that everybody it's not too late. At the same time, we also have to tell them that Bitcoin has already set itself up to enable incumbents, to enable intermediaries, because you can't build on it in a way that you can with smart contracts, right? So you want to tell people to invest in like at least 2 to 3 Bitcoin, Ethereum. Shoot, I tell them to invest in EOS even. Why? Because or Cardano. My point is this: we gotta get the network effect from multiple networks. Because if everyone is just like Bitcoin, all you're going to do is just get a new sort of recycled set of incumbents.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part, because again, like you're saying, Alan, Bitcoin is not a productive asset. It's and it suffers from the greater's fool theory, just like most other assets out there, even gold, right? So you need someone to buy it after you at a higher price to make your share of it be more expensive. So for sure, I would just tell people to, like Alan said, diversify. Don't just buy Bitcoin. Do your research on non-cryptocurrency related coins that are blockchain based, that are going to be the future for developing different dApps, decentralized apps. That's going to be the future. You're going to have that really be the future, not just these cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Litecoin and a couple of other ones. But
if you can't build, don't put money into it. That's what I tell people. Like Bitcoin plus whatever you can build on, even EOS. Like you can build on EOS, so I'm not going to outright just completely knock it. So that's how you got to look at it. If you can build on it,
I had to make 10 pound a believer EOS too.
Well, I ain't gonna buy none.
And watch this. Another way of looking at it is similar to, like, in your portfolio, your retirement portfolio, you don't put everything in one single stock. You're told to diversify according to the risk categories and blue chip, all the variations that have been given to you. It's the same as that. Like Bitcoin is the primary one, but yet there's other projects, and of course, I think any of the projects that have a very large communities ultimately will have some longevity to them, just because you're going to have diehard core fans, whether it exceeds or not, because people fall in love with projects these days very easy. So
hey, I was going to say it's a double-edged sword, Alan. All these blockchains and all these different platforms, you got to be agnostic to them. You can't just be like, oh yeah, this is going to be here for X amount of time, and then somebody else is going to eat their lunch. You got to straight up let people know in advance that these are just tools. They're like, oh, I got a power drill over here, I got a hammer over here, I got a saw over here.
Oh yeah,
like, why not use them in specific ways to just broadcast and utilize and leverage. That's all they're meant for. If you think about it,
I'm not a maximalist by any means. Don't take it that way.
Let Trek take the floor.
All right, so the metaphor of it being tools is very understandable, but the thing about tools is, and RTD, you might know about this in regards to like time preference. When you talk about economics, as far as do you have a high time preference for something or a low time preference, and what that means for the other folks out there is, would you be willing to invest the time on something now to gain later on? It's the delayed gratification thing. When you say to someone, oh, this is a tool, most folks in the everyday levels of life are not low or not, what is it, low tolerance preference people, meaning they have maybe a short or a long window. A long window might be like, well, what's next week gonna be? What's at the end of the month gonna be? But when you start talking stuff like, hey, like, think about this. Like, how many times back in the day when you told somebody like, yeah, you got to look at this in like a 5-year, stance of like, if you get into this crypto thing, and they were just like, nah, but I just heard my friend tell me about how he made like X amount of money in like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so you got people who got that time scale preference and understanding, but not understanding that like you can use a tool such as this, such as how, cash or money in general, as far as it making something for you. Because that's the other part that's funny, how when we educate or like try to help people understand about how you need to have money make money for you, we don't put the time part on it. We just say, yo, you gotta have your money make money for you. But are we actually giving them the better understanding of what the time delay part of that is? You know what I'm saying? If you are a 65-year-old, all right.
Is Bitcoin? Let me ask you this: Is Bitcoin the new 401k? Crypto is crypto the new 401k? I should say.
I would say crypto is is one of the options for a 401k. I don't know to say Bitcoin is that, because again, like we make all of these predictions.
I wouldn't say Bitcoin.
And we see like things that look favorable to us, but again, if you look at prohibition and how the government went this way, and 10 plus years later, all of a sudden they went the next way.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything looks favorable for us right now, but 10, 15 years down the road.
Yeah, believe me, guys, I agree. There are some headwinds still ahead for us in crypto. Don't think it's just all, blue skies from here. There's going to be some stuff coming down the pipe that's going to be, make the price get rocked. Definitely.
Watch this.
Yeah.
So to that point, I wanted to bring up earlier in the conversation about, the coming battle between stablecoins and central bank digital currencies. Because we have a lot of companies / projects now that are creating their own stable coins, tied to the dollar, even though the dollar is being weaponized right now. So how will that work? And then when it's time for the Federal Reserve or Treasury, whoever, to roll out a central bank digital currency solely, what's that going to look like? That's going to be the biggest argument, which I think we're going to find out probably this year.
Absolutely. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to chime in real quick and just say that, I think that CBDs, or not actually stablecoins, may be the next. We didn't talk about this, fellas, but look out, stablecoins may be the next to be hit by SEC.
It's coming this year.
I heard that.
Yeah,
coming this year.
Okay, well, hear me out. All right, but these firms that are minting these stablecoins, some of them don't even have offices. Some of them are pretty much, anonymous teams. They operate as a decentralized autonomous organization, like DAI, for instance, or like Perlin. What Perlin is doing. Perlin, they're pretty much an autonomous organization. Phantom as well. Phantom is an autonomous organization. They have synthetic dollars within their organization.
we gotta talk about the one that holds the lion's share of the market cap for
Tether.
Tether.
Yeah, right. I get it. 100%. I believe that they're definitely going to be under scrutiny.
Yeah.
But they have wholeheartedly made financial regulation, a mainstay in their webpage. You know what I mean? They want to be fully compliant. Like they've pretty much been saying for years upon years now that they're willing to play ball. And also to answer your question, CB, earlier, you said that Bitcoin could be the next 401k. Nah, man, Bitcoin is the bond of the internet. That's what it is. Like back in the day,
Dude,
bonds
no.
used to yield.
Ethereum is the bond of the
Oh
internet.
my
Man,
Come on,
okay,
now.
no, I don't think Ethereum is the bond. Ethereum is a contract ecosystem that you can mint bonds on, that you can mint insurance policies
So what's
on.
staking?
But I think
so when you take 32 Ethereum and stake it, what is that?
that's definitely depositing it into a vault, and then
That's
who
not a
knows?
bond?
Man, I don't think that's a bond. I don't think because a bond yields regardless of whether or not you stake it. A bond is something that you just pretty much buy for yield, and that's pretty
Right.
much
So
what
you
Bitcoin
buy
does. You
32
buy
Ethereum
Bitcoin
and you stake it and you get yield from it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to stake it, man. Like there's so many frictionless staking
I know, but what I'm
mechanisms
saying, that
for
was the
Ethereum
decision of the
nowadays.
network.
I
That
get
was the
it.
decision of the network.
Totally. I understand. I get that. But like ultimately there's so many other opportunities, you know what I mean, on top of Ethereum rather than just being used as a bond mechanism. I think Bitcoin doesn't really have any mechanisms. It just operates as
I know.
digital gold. And it's like a certificate of purchase, right? And that's what a bond is, really. It's a certificate of purchase for financial sovereignty. It's minted by governments to trade bonds for cash. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you buy my bond, I'll swap you some cash. We'll keep this whole thing going. And I think that's pretty much what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is, hey, you give me your Satoshi, right? And then we mint another protocol with those Satoshis, and then we could just make government-based currencies off of those Satoshis that you just handed me. So now I could utilize this network and leverage a cashless society. You know what I'm saying? Like over on Tron, over on EOS, over on Ethereum, what other smart contract ecosystem you want to use to leverage for this sort of ecosystem of central bank digital currencies? Any blockchain, really.
All right, well, that's a good debate, but I want to finish up with this one, guys, and that is the government starting to hodl Bitcoin. Is that going to be the next trend that we see? You know, in 2020, we saw all those, public companies starting to hodl Bitcoin. Our government's next. Let me hear that first from
They already
RTD.
have Iran.
Yeah, that was a couple year and a half ago. Let's see.
And a lot of
what do you think?
A lot of smaller countries in the Scandinavian area have seized Bitcoins and Litecoins and everything else and kept on and held on to them. I think one country paid off some of their debt utilizing the proceeds from it. So governments, if they truly can't beat it, they have to join in. If that's the case, they will definitely be holding Bitcoin or whatever else. And we'll see what happens. But if I remember we talked about this before about right now China controls 65% of the total hash rate. So once China is deciding they want to shift attention away from that, what will happen to Bitcoin if they decide to shut down every miner in their country? Will that shake some things up or what? So those are concerns I have. But governments have to get involved, I think, eventually.
I don't think China is that big of an issue when it comes to hash power. All it's going to do is if they get disrupted, the difficulty is going to go way down, and then there's going to be an opportunity for people within the protocol or people within, the realm of, mining to seize. That's really what's going to happen.
The speed and the security of the network itself.
I don't think it's going to cause it to become 51% attackable. No way.
Did I hear a corona cough?
I thought I
did I just hear a corona cough? Yo, everyone get their mask. I don't know where's my mask.
Oh my days, y'all crazy, man. Hey, so let me go ahead and say one.
I got my EOS Detroit mask for all y'all EOS haters out there.
Yo, EOS is freaking awesome, man. Anybody that's hating on EOS doesn't understand what's on it right now.
Alan.
But hear me out, okay? I think that government's already involved in the space. If you go to the SEC's website, they have a bunch of smart contracts archived, ready to deploy.
No, but what about Bitcoin in particular, though? Because what I'm talking about is we saw in 2020 the public companies, the corporations are now starting to hedge against the dying dollar with Bitcoin. Is that going to be a trend that we start to see more of in 2021, or is that later? And what does that look like for the price of Bitcoin Because boy, companies is a totally different scenario than sovereign nations getting into Bitcoin. We're talking about trillions now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the way it was projected to be by the World Economic Forum. They've been talking about this behind the scenes for years. And I just named one example how governments are involved. They're involved in many different ways. If you think about it, I personally believe that there's a bunch of governments all around the globe right now stacking satoshis, just pretty much accumulating as much as possible.
Alan, what are your thoughts on governments coming in?
I think they will. I think even before this year, I've always felt that you're going to get smaller nations who have nothing to lose. Honestly, I really thought by now, like Maduro would have just been like, "You guys won't give me my gold? Fuck it. I'm sorry. We're just going to start using. We're just going to start using Bitcoin." Like some countries, smaller countries who have nothing to lose, are going to start holding Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. It really doesn't matter. They're going to enter the space. And once you get a couple of these smaller countries doing it, then it becomes one of those games where you can't not do it, right? And it's just like now what's happening in corporate and institutions are like, well, what's our Bitcoin or what's our crypto strategy? You look over at instead of looking over at your CFO, the head of state, whoever that is looking over at the guy that's in charge of the treasury. Like, hey, what's our plan for this? Right? So I think that's where we're going to be headed.
Now watch this. On another note, everything we're talking about here is with Bitcoin being priced in dollar terms. Between now and the end of this decade, the world will no longer price true tangible assets in Federal Reserve note terms. So if governments decide to print to oblivion and buy up all the Bitcoin, when it's time to spend them, you're going to price everything perhaps in Bitcoin or in gold or whatever that next world reserve currency might be. And so once again, Bitcoin is only really going to be good down the line is if you can spend it and buy something tangible with it. So if we look at the hyperinflation of all currencies, like right now Bitcoin is 29,000, but if every government prints to the very end, what would it be worth? Like, what number would you be willing to put towards one Bitcoin? Was it just like the Zimbabwe? It's $100 trillion note. So is a Bitcoin worth $1 trillion? But what would it buy? You know what I'm saying, at the end?
So this has been, to me, everything in crypto is about the battle for unit of account. Everybody talks about medium of exchange and store of value. The final boss is unit of account, right? Because when you're measuring it in dollars, or even let's just say it's euros or something else, ultimately you're basically saying, I'm getting this because I don't trust what I'm measuring it in, right? So then you're like, well, if we're not measuring it in that, how do we start thinking in terms of unit of account? And I think really this is where it's going to hurt Bitcoin, and I'll tell you why. Because you can't, every other network where you have smart contracts and tokens, they're building things out on top. Right? They're going to build products and services and everything, and they're going to have all this stuff going on. Bitcoin still relies on intermediaries, governments, institutions, whomever. You can't really take a Bitcoin and a Bitcoin economy still relies on third parties and counterparties.
I don't see a Bitcoin economy coming.
Whereas you could see an Ethereum economy, or honestly, I'd see a Fiat economy.
For sure.
I would see a Bitcoin economy.
For sure. No, I agree. I agree.
Anything that's built on smart contracts, programmable money of that magnitude, of course. There'll be ways.
So let me ask you fellas this then. Again, for a newbie that's coming into the game, would you rather them buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin or $1,000 worth of Ethereum?
Easily get the Ethereum.
Without question. But I mean, like recently I had my girlfriend get into it, and I mean, regardless of what
y'all about to be divorced. Y'all about to break up.
No.
Y'all about to break up, bro. You about to have her lose her money. She gonna be mad at you.
I said do 50-50. Regardless of what I think about Bitcoin, the current market sentiment is very high on it. So why would I? Right. Like I'm paying enough attention to it. I'll know when that shift occurs. Right now, we're still on that Bitcoin high. Right. Eventually, people are going to look around like, what do I got to do? So how do I use this? I want to pay for some sort of experience, product, or service. So I would, if you're going to say you have to pick all, I would do Ethereum over Bitcoin. But I don't think there's anything wrong with hedging with 3 or 4.
Agreed.
Bitcoin plus Ethereum or Ethereum plus some other coins, mix and match it.
Yep, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Carlito's Way asked, CB, what about Algorand and the SEC? No, they're not in the clear. Listen, all these companies, and I understand what Trek is talking about. If this happens where, you know, XRP is flagged as a, you know, unregistered security, what that means for other current, you know, cryptocurrencies in the game, it's a bad picture for them. Not a good story. So Algorand is in trouble. Like all of them are in trouble who haven't had that clearance or settled with the SEC. So what you're going to see, I'll say the opposite. You're going to see a premium on all the coins that have been cleared by the SEC going forward. As you see more of these projects get hit by the SEC, you're going to see more of a premium built into all the coins that are already cleared by them. So yeah, Algorand is not in the clear. Yeah. No. Let me get over to Trek real quick on the whole subject of Bitcoin and governments. What do you think is the picture long term? Not even long term, short term with governments. Are they going to be the next ones coming in like we saw with corporations in 2020?
I think that it could be a
take your time, Pastor. Take your time. Take your time.
It could be a rope-a-dope. It could be a rope-a-dope. So, like, in the case of how China's rolling, it's just like, well, we could just roll out our blue dog, and we know our citizens is down for it, right? But it's a different cultural dynamic in that region, as opposed to there's a country that I cannot remember the name of right now, but it's like between Romania and like Poland, somewhere like within that area. I can't remember the name for it right now. There are certain financial agreements that sit for Europe, right? Where like France, England, Germany are a part of that agreement for how their financial institutions are set up. And this particular country still has a royal family that's in charge of stuff. The son he was like heavy crypto early on. And my point in regards to bringing up this place that I cannot remember the name of the country, but they still deal with the monarchy side of things, was the son was like, yo, we need to start moving on this. We're going to do it now. And when I used to write for, there's an exchange I used to write for that I cannot remember the damn name right now.
Must and I had to look important. At what was
going.
Must not be too important.
Bro, I'm not even going to run backwards on that one. But the point being is, I think what we'll see play out within this decade is there's going to be some countries who are going to move a certain way. Case in point, how China's moving in their direction, what I call the blue dogs. That's the CBDCs, which will play into like the bigger whales in the space as far as the currency wars. And then you have the other smaller, second tier, third tier countries who are going to do their little ways and things. So like, for example, in Venezuela, they play out stuff where they're just going to go and dig at the miners and then just start tapping them on the shoulder and pulling their crypto from them. Yo, you'd be surprised how many people left Venezuela to go into Colombia. So the same thing can happen in Colombia where the government could just tap directly on miners that way. Or, hey, you be in like Turkey and you had like whatever operation running and it's like, well, you didn't do whatever or you didn't pay a bill and guess what? We're going to shut down your whole website because you were running cloud mining and now we got that. Look what we did here in the States. When Ross got picked up, they sold off his stuff to a number of people. But then there was still I forgot what the agency was that was still holding on to what Ross had accumulated over his time, right? But the point is, it's going to be different ways that the countries move about how they either start taking their stake in the crypto thing, whether it's going to be using their version of CBDCs, aka blue dogs, Or are they going to go through the legal law enforcement route and getting their citizens and like shoulder tapping them? Somebody, I forgot who made this point the other day, where they were saying how, all right, if the countries come in and like start doing what they do to get, we'll use Bitcoin as the example. When it gets to a certain like number of countries or a certain volume, they could then turn around, and at some point we all know that the whole EFT thing is going to be a thing on this, right? The countries can then turn around on the digital side and be like, look, our money is now backed by Bitcoin. I mean, to me, that could be a potential play. I don't think every country would do it. I think 1 or 2 countries might try to play around with it. Is it going to work past the grander, bigger timeline of that country existing? I don't know. I don't have an exact on it. I just think that there's going to be a couple of different ways countries are going to move about it, and I just said some of them.
Yeah. Do you think
blackmoney.com? What are your thoughts on governments starting to hodl Bitcoin in 2021?
As far as the United States, we know they've been seizing crypto for the last 5 years from people, and I know that they currently have a habit of selling off most of it because it's so volatile, and if they lose a court case to somebody,
I think they have to as well.
Yeah, it's like the IRS has a rule like that where they sell it off because it's so volatile. They don't want to lose the case, and then the defendant come back and say, "Hey, I want my $10,000 back," and it's already lost the value. You can't produce it. Right. They don't want the cash value and not the crypto value. But I do think they will start doing, I guess, more sneakier tactics to confiscate people's Bitcoin cryptocurrency on cases they know they can win, and then collect it that way so they don't have to pay for it. But I'm not sure if they'll just be buying up crypto anytime soon in the United States. Other countries, maybe, that suffered hyperinflation like Venezuela and stuff like that, but not here.
Okay. 10 pound, last word.
Hey, I was going to ask Trek, do you think that that company, or not company, that country that is going to come out and say, yeah, our cash is backed by Bitcoin, do you think that they're going to use layer 2 solutions?
I mean, unless they got somebody who really understanding how the space has evolved and how they can implement it to like deal with stuff for their citizens, they probably might come up with some real, halfway byproduct, hybrid something, and the average Joe person, and of course they're gonna change the regulations to work for what they needed to work as the country. So it'll be a fancy. It'll be a fancy spreadsheet. There we go.
Okay, fair.
I got a question.
All right, so wait, you think it's going to be a balance sheet then at that point? You guys are aware of Pancake Swap and Binance Smart Chain and stuff like that, right? Like the second layer RPC. Oh, okay. Just wondering. Yeah. So there's different types of swaps that pretty much are forks of Sushi Swap that just run on different RPC layers on Ethereum. And there's nothing stopping the government from saying, hey, I want to make a remote procedural call on top of this network. Let me go ahead and set up a server real quick. Be like, and then like issued my own like digital currency. It's like a stable coin, like for my people to utilize. There's nothing stopping these governments from doing that.
Watch this. Now, one of the issues might be governments may not be as willing to put Bitcoin in particular on their balance sheets of any kind unless they also solve the quantum computer issue that will be coming in the next couple of years. So I doubt they would, look to bring something into the new asset class and call themselves being backed by this. Is our currencies backed by Bitcoin without them themselves solving the quantum computer issue. But I also believe that they're going to try to use the quantum computer down the line to end the whole concept of decentralized projects.
That is the big, that's the big concern of mine, definitely. But Alan, what's your take?
So the entire concern about quantum computers is really irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, because if quantum computers can do what your fear is for crypto, then it can wipe out everything else, because the same technology that's securing cryptocurrency is the same technology that's securing the banks, that's securing social media, that's securing anything the CIA is doing.
I agree.
It's all the same algorithms. They're just being applied in different sort of ways. So if that's the concern, then we got like nothing's going to work.
No, but watch this.
Nothing's secure.
So watch this. So China or the U.S., which might be the two world powers battling for world supremacy for the next 100 years. As of now, I believe it might be shifted towards China, but China can easily target all Bitcoin protocol, decentralized cryptocurrencies, because it's a threat to them. They won't touch the old financial markets because that's something they're participating in, and they can sign some type of world power pact that neither one of the super.
But no, Mike, that's not how it'll work.
Yeah.
It's like peeing in the pool. And I'm sorry for the gross example. What I'm saying is, once you pee in the pool, nobody wants to pee in the pool. There's no way you're going to be able to say, like China, like, oh, we're only going to attack Bitcoin. If you can crack what is securing Bitcoin, you can crack any SSL that the CIA or anyone's doing this. And it's not like China is going to be able to keep that knowledge under wraps. That's not how it works.
That's the next form of the nuclear bomb. Like nobody wants to let them off. We all got them, but just don't touch that button.
Yeah, I'm seriously concerned about the quantum.
Yo,
quantum
come on, man. We really gonna pretend like Blockstream isn't working on quantum resistant encryption for BTC right now? Like,
yeah, I am. I'm gonna pretend that. I'm gonna pretend they aren't.
Hey.
I don't know. I don't follow that in depth to really know. So,
Blockstream, all you gotta do, that's a whole other conversation.
No, but hear me out, right? All you gotta do to find out who's got the most commit is to just check out their GitHub page. Right, and then you could pretty much see who specializes in what sort of computer programming that's been committing to, the Bitcoin network.
No, that's not how it works, man. Look, I'm a developer myself. I think you're a developer.
Yeah.
You know damn well it doesn't. A check-in GitHub activity is a vanity metric. I could write an AP. I could write a bot right now just to commit junk, and then those numbers will fly. Okay, let's not put any weight in the GitHub activity and commits. That means nothing about the quality or implementation or what the code is doing. So we got to move away from that as an industry entirely, especially when a lot of projects also have private repos, which if you're really working on anything hot, you're not going to put it in a public repo until at minimum it's on testnet.
For sure. I agree.
All right.
100%. But I still think that Blockstreams has an organization that's legitimate, and they want to abide by the principles. Yeah, I'm talking about Blockstream, of course.
All right, man.
Yeah. All right. Yo, this guy's not even taking me seriously.
That is like the most trash company in crypto. Like, I can't even believe you giving them any weight.
Man.
I don't know.
Really? Bro, dude,
yes.
I wouldn't say it's the trashest company.
What have they built?
Yeah, they're kind of
nothing.
Yeah, they're actually the reason why Bitcoin hasn't had any progress.
Exactly.
To be honest with you.
Man, you guys, I know you guys don't think Lightning Network is it.
What is Lightning Network? What is that? I don't even know what Lightning Network is.
Man, dude, it's like a payments channel. It's pretty much like layer 2 BTC. Like,
dude, are you trolling us right now? Or are you serious?
I don't know. Dude. 10 Pound is a good troller. I don't know.
He gotta be trolling us right now, man.
Wait, what? You guys don't know about the Bitcoin Lightning Network?
Okay, all right. You trolling.
I'm not trolling y'all, man. I'm being serious. Like,
no, you're not. No, you're not.
Payment channels that can broadcast.
Bro, of course we know about Lightning Network. Of course.
Man, okay,
of course.
So yeah, it's like, oh, I don't want to pay this fee to broadcast over Bitcoin, then just move your Bitcoin over to a Lightning node and voila. I mean, they're working Blockstream. They're working on satellite transmission of BTC, like in case the internet goes down. Like, I'm saying that it's not.
Omnibone puts it best.
Yes.
BTC is a new Lightning Network, bro. You don't need no Lightning Network.
Bro, I know I'm hip. Okay, dude, believe me. All right, I love Ethereum so much, dude. I use it every single day. I already know about it. Okay, I'm holding sats in BTC right now, dog. but still, ultimately, like Blockstream, like saying that they're the most trash company, and bro, come on, man, there are degens making shit coins right now to drop on Uniswap to rug pull. Come on,
but they're not a
stop
company.
being
They're not a
disingenuous.
company. They're not a company.
Man, bro, there's
Okay?
some. Okay, all right.
Dude.
Well,
Fair,
we're running up on 2 hours. I appreciate all you guys time on the first day of the new year. I'm gonna start off with Mike, man. Mike, where can people find you?
Man, I appreciate the opportunity to connect, and just type in "rethinking the dollar" anywhere on the internet, and you'll be able to go back towards the channel where we talk about everything dollar related, currency related, you name it. So heavy precious metals, but also I speculate in the crypto digital asset space as well. So thanks for having my friend.
All right, thanks for coming on. And we got Mike, not Mike, but Alan, Hannah. What's going on, man? I appreciate you coming on tonight. Good conversation. Where can people find you, man?
Just on Twitter, Real Alan Henna. On Twitter, the handle Real Alan Henna.
All right.
You on my list, bro.
Short and sweet. Trek said you're on his list. And my guy, Black Money. What's going on, bro? Appreciate you coming on tonight. At such short notice, and first time, of course, as well. Let the people know where they can check you out as well. He's pretty active on Twitter, ladies and gents.
BLK Money, DOTCOM on Twitter, or my YouTube channel is Black Money.
All right, and then we got my man Trek. Hey, yep. Thanks for coming on tonight, man. Where can people find you?
I was literally like just finishing up a conversation with somebody we have in common, and I saw the message. I was like, oh damn, wait, that's like less than an hour from now. I said, okay, let me go read through these articles and stuff. Finding me is literally just put in TREKKW, the number 2 KS, and it will always come to my content. You don't even need a hashtag.
There you go. That's guerrilla marketing right there for you. And last but not least, my guy 10 Pound.
What up, everybody?
Thanks for coming in toward the tail end. How can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TPS0011. You know, following up on that binary 0011 TPS0011. So shoot me a follow, I'll follow back. That's how it is.
There you go, ladies and gents. Again, appreciate everyone coming on today. This new StreamYard software I'm using. I enjoyed it, Mike. I thank you. Yeah. So we'll be using this again. And that's pretty much it, ladies and gents. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this. We out of here. Holla.
All right.
Cash crisis. Worse, my Venezuela once again.